Good evening, I'm Jeff Lyons. It is 9 o'clock here on Tuesday night, July the 22nd. Time for the First Alert Weather Show at 9 o'clock. I'm watching your comments on the 14 News Facebook page. So if you have something you want to ask or something to talk about or quip, a giggle, whatever you want to put in there, go right ahead and we'll check those out about halfway through. We, of course, have alert days. There's nothing new in this forecast. I'm really stretching here to try to figure out how to repackage the heat and humidity to make it more appealing, and that's pretty difficult to do, even with decent weather. But we have basically the same setup for the next several days here, where we have hot, humid air streaming in from the Gulf. We have no showers or thunderstorms to knock the heat down. And we're actually looking at extreme heat in urban areas like St. Louis and then down toward Memphis, Jackson, Mississippi, and into New Orleans. And heat index values there could top 110 degrees. Here in the tri-state, our heat index generally around 105 to 107 during the hottest parts of the day. Our heat index forecast kind of bears that out. Saturday may be a real scorcher there depending on how things play out. But anything over 105, we tend to get a little worried about your health and about heat exhaustion and heat stroke. So that's why the alert days, why the heat advisories, and why the excessive heat warnings there. As we look down the line, you can see why there's not much change coming our way. Mid-90s all the way through the start of next week. And longer range outlook, which I'll show you here in a minute, doesn't give us much relief even after that. We may see a few thunderstorms fire again tomorrow afternoon. They would be over southern Illinois and probably out of the tri-state when they happen. Looking ahead, rain chances are not great even through the weekend and the start of next week. While we have, 30-40% chance of rain, it's not going to be widespread soaking rainfall. We're not really in need of that at this stage. As you know, we've had a ton of rain already. The hot and humid air is basically parked here over the southern plains and the Midwest. Out to our west, no hundreds showing, kind of surprising there. Vegas at 96, Phoenix at 97 degrees right now. Those are the hottest that I could find out west. Look at Miami down there, 77 degrees. Little ocean breeze, I'm sure, to help cool things down. Here in the tri-state, we have upper 70s and low 80s. Not a bad night out there, just a little humid, I'm sure anybody at the Vanderburgh County Fair would tell you the same thing. It's, there's a little yeasty outside. The feels like temperature is still closing in on 90 degrees there. Those will pull back a few degrees overnight. We only got up to 91 today, but despite that, the heat index was in the triple digits for several hours this afternoon. This morning, we were only down to 76. For the month now, we add another 90-degree day there, a 91-degree day, and no rain. So we're not really, as I said, looking for rain. We've had 3.37, that should say not 337 inches, 3.37 of additional rainfall and about a foot of additional rain for the year. For the month now, we still stand with, way above normal on rainfall here in the last 4 months. So that would answer the question why we've had such a wet and humid summer here so far. Tomorrow, temperatures back up into the middle 90s, and we are expecting very little in the way of active weather over the tri-state. Any shower or thunderstorm activity should be relegated to the plains there. Basically, we have high pressure kind of holding everything off there to the west, and even our storm outlook is pretty puny. Nothing coming down the pike there through Thursday and likely through the weekend too. We might have an isolated shower or two, but that's about it. Okay, looking ahead, you see those pop-up showers over southern Illinois Thursday and Friday, and then we get into the close-up view here, and there are those storms I was talking about mainly tomorrow afternoon. If you're in White, Gallatin County there, Saline, Hamilton, maybe some showers or thunderstorms for you, but otherwise everybody else I think is going to be left out on the rain there for the remainder of the work week. The longer range through the weekend, still pretty puny here, pretty stingy with any rain chances. Maybe Saturday afternoon and possibly again Sunday afternoon and evening we could see a few pop-ups, but other than that, looking dry. 73 tonight and partly cloudy. The high tomorrow should hit 94, and of course helped out by the high humidity. That will feel like about 104 to 107. And our first alert weather days continue all the way into Tuesday next week, with the best chances of rain coming up over the weekend on Saturday and Sunday. Longer range through the start of August, we remain well above normal on temperatures and near normal on rainfall. And we have a good picture for you tonight, good pet pick for the dog days of summer or the cat days of summer. You can choose. This is from Amy Hilliard. That's Oscar Mayer over here and Moesha over on the other side. Almost matching in there with the carpet. Fine animals back there. All right, let's see here. See if we have anybody watching this evening. Kind of a thin audience out there, as you'd expect. William Raleigh, no rain in the gauge today. It was actually kind of nice, but humid. All right. He's giving me a train update there, a Wansford job. I guess they bring trains down from Wansford Yard around the belt line there to Flegeltops, or the whatever that is, that Universal Salvage or whatever it is over here. Okay, Jeff Miller says bring on fall, and yeah, we will do our very best. Give me about 3 months to work on that, will you? Laura Gray's in Dawson Springs watching us tonight. Hey, Laura, glad to have you with us tonight. And let's see, Lacey Martin dealing with the heat, observing temperatures for Evansville, Henderson, Owensboro. They're all hot. You can't find a cool one in the carload there. Murph Fisher, how far off the average of rainfall are we so far this year? Well, the average rainfall, I told you earlier, we're almost a foot ahead of the normal. So by this time of the year, we're typically around 31, 32 inches based on a 45-inch annual total. So we've already hit that, and everything we're getting now is gravy on rainfall. So way ahead. Tori Talbert, daughter has 2 back-to-back softball games tomorrow afternoon in the heat. Not going to be pleasant at all. Yeah. Make sure you're under some sort of umbrella or awning or something, and I'm sure the kids are staying hydrated. I ride my bike in the morning. I get out around 10. It's not too bad. Of course, on a bike, you got a breeze going, as long as you're moving. But it's pretty hot by the time I finish, usually around 11. So, you can live in the heat. It's just, you got to take some precautions out there to make sure that you're not getting dehydrated or, woozy, loopy, all of that stuff. There's a good way to calculate how the heat affects your body, and this is a little newer than just the typical heat index, and it's used primarily for athletes, football teams, softball teams, anybody, soccer, anybody that's outside. Oftentimes you'll see a trainer or somebody in charge there with a device that looks like this, kind of a handheld thing, and it has a black globe on the top of it, and that's significant. Remember, we've talked here in the Science Corner about albedo, right? Darker colors absorb more heat from the sun and get hotter, right? Which is why we have urban heat island and so forth. Darker colors absorb more heat. Well, your body, in some regards, is kind of the same way, especially depending on what you wear. And of course, your skin tone, too. If you have darker skin, you're going to absorb more sunlight and more heat. So anyhow, the wet bulb globe temperature tries to take all that into account, including the temperature, the humidity, wind speed, sunlight, heating, and so forth. And it's a better way to determine on a much finer scale how the heat will stress your body. It measures the maximum cooling that you could possibly achieve through sweat evaporation, which is your body's only way of cooling itself. And of course, when we have all this humidity out here, the evaporation slows down, and that's where we get into trouble. Now, every day on the news, we give you the heat index, which is fine, but basically it is a value for in the shade, and it takes temperature and humidity into account. if you're out in the direct sunlight, especially like at 2 o'clock in the afternoon when the sun's directly overhead, you can be 10 to 12 degrees warmer, hotter than you would be in the shade. And so the wet bulb globe temperature takes that into account. It also looks at sun angle and cloud cover, which are very important. Obviously, if it's cloudy, you're not going to get as much incoming radiation from the sun. It's kind of a complicated formula, but the basis of it is it takes the air temperature, but then it looks at that wet bulb temperature. That's a measure of evaporative cooling. And then 20% of the black globe temperature to simulate how hot it is if you're in direct sunlight, and that would equal the wet bulb globe temperature. And then we have a number of different things that we do here depending on what that temperature is. So for example, today at 4 o'clock, we had a wet bulb globe temperature. I calculated it at 86 degrees, which would be right in that moderate range. Meaning, you know, in every hour of activity, you would want 30 minutes of rest scattered in there. It doesn't have to be, you know, on 30, off 30. It can be 6 5-minute breaks, for example, or 2 15-minute breaks, whatever. And you'll want to drink about 16 ounces of water per hour at that rate if you're acclimated. If you're not acclimated to the heat, you probably don't want to be doing anything out there. We were actually kind of on the border here at 86 because I took the average of direct sunlight versus shade. So if you were in the direct sunlight, then it would have been closer to 88. And at that point, then you need to be taking more rest and drinking more water. So you can see there are improved ways to try to express how the heat affects your body. It's all science and it's all evolving. And of course, it's different for each person. You know, you talk to a roofer, a farmer, a road worker, anybody that's out there every day, and they know, you know, how to cope with this. This is for the rest of us that, you know, we're kind of in and out, or maybe you're out there mowing your lawn or something like that. You're maybe not as acclimated to the heat and humidity, just to give you a little more of a safety margin out there. All right. Somebody, I've been heckled before, you know, by people that are actually out there doing real work, not like me, you know, just standing here talking under the lights, but, you know, sweating and manual hard work out in the heat. And, you know, you drink a lot of water. You go any place where they're putting a roof on a house or something, and those guys and women sometimes too, they know exactly how to cope. But even so, you can still get into trouble out there in the heat, so just be real careful. Okay, that's the only reason I nag everybody, is because I don't want anybody, you know, to wind up in the hospital unnecessarily. All right, and some of you were asking about storms. I don't think we're going to have any storms, maybe over the weekend, and that would actually be an improvement on things if we can get a couple of storms out there just to cool it down. We don't want severe weather, of course, and in this environment, we probably wouldn't see it anyway. Heavy rain would be the bigger threat. Anyhow, that's all I have for you tonight here on the First Alert Weather Show at 9. I'll see you over on TV on 14 News at 10, and then, of course, back here tomorrow at 9 o'clock. Thanks so much for watching. Please stay cool, stay safe, and have a good night.